Lights, camera, action!
We're shooting threes, just SMB. We're gonna watch and review film trilogies. It's all for laughs, so just sit back. We're gonna drop hella dimes on this podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to Shooting Threes. We are at the 2/3 mark of 50 Shades.
Almost there. Final lap.
We're going to be breaking it down. I'm your co-host, Sarah Griffith.
And I am your other co-host, Bridgett Lee Greenberg.
There we go.
I did it.
There we go. You got that right.
We divorced because of creative differences, but decided the
and
podcast.
my kinky fuckery.
And your kinky fuckery.
We are back in the red room. 50 Shades to even darker.
50 Shades Darker, which when I was looking up the movie, it took me I had to Google which one am I watching.
We're coming off of a Fast and Furious movie. The naming convention of the Fast and Furious movies makes more sense to me than the 50 Shades.
Is it tight compared to this? Yeah.
They literally should just call it 51 Shades. Just keep it simple.
Just keep it easy. Do it like the Ocean's movies and just add another person to the relationship.
Right. It's a throuple now. They've added a third.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
maybe
we'll get
into the plot. I do want to start off with a little bit of both a confession and something that I'm proud of. Okay. I fell into a 3-hour 50 Shades hole yesterday.
As one does.
And boy, does this movie know how to fall into holes. Am I right? One of our patrons, thank you, shout out to our Patreon, put me onto this video essay.
I meant to watch that and
I'm going to summarize.
Thank you.
I'll
go watch it
and because honestly, a lot of it was just scene for. You don't need to see all of it.
It's what we're gonna
because
do.
I watched all of it. I watched about 90 minutes of
50 Shades analysis.
Yes, 4 video essays from Folding Ideas. So before we get into the plot, to back up with something we talked about in our last episode, which is the fact that this is fan fiction based on Twilight, etc. Mm-hmm. Okay, Folding Ideas kind of helped me reframe this movie before I saw it.
And Folding Ideas is the name of the content creator.
Yes, this is the YouTube channel. Just because they reminded me what fan fiction is like. Did you ever read fan fiction?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you were cool or something?
I was busy getting lit.
Okay.
No, I wasn't. That's not what I was doing.
I was busy too. And also I read a lot of fan fiction.
Yeah.
Not a lot of I read fan fiction and
I didn't know about it.
I forgot fan fiction has its own community and its own rules and its own etiquette. And something that I kind of forgot is that a lot of major fan fictions, stories that get popular amongst fandoms and ships and etc., they start to update in real time. So if you pick up a fan fiction that your friend recommended and it's only 3 chapters in and the 4th chapter, a new chapter's posted every Wednesday.
Okay.
You have something to go back to every Wednesday and it's a new episode drops, but it's a new chapter.
Gotcha.
So fan fiction does not have to follow any kind of long-term narrative structure because a lot of fan fiction is written by the chapter and the chapters, though they do, they're still chapters of a bigger story. They don't necessarily have to, one whole chapter can be an entire dream sequence that's just used.
Okay, so there's
a chapter's this is shore leave.
So
this is
right, so it's not following a bigger plot structure necessarily.
You don't really have to follow through even on the strings within your chapters. So
that's a mess, but I respect the art. But that sounds like a goddamn mess.
It's just a different way of reading, truthfully. It's a completely I would never read fan fiction the way I would read a book.
Okay.
It's a completely different, a screenplay versus a play versus a chapter book. These are just different ways you read material.
Yes. That's still confusing to me because
you just don't know it.
I don't know.
You know what? You've never been to fanfiction.net. You don't know Archive of Our Own.
No shade. I don't think it was big. It wasn't a thing I was aware of growing up.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm not above it. I'm sure I would have read. I'm sure I would have read 30 Rock fan fiction.
And that I can link you some. I'm sure if I can go back and find my old live journal. But anyway, so that kind of make sense when you watch, especially this movie, how there's like so many different mini
Oh,
subplots of the movie
yeah,
that just kind of
okay.
happen, and then it's like nothing ever really
that
comes
is a
of
really
it.
good point.
Because in chapter by chapter
Right,
reading,
'cause there's
you
no-
can do that.
Yes.
My
That
whole point with this
that-
fanfiction
yeah.
explanation I'm giving at the top of this.
that is a really good point, because one of my notes is like, it's 45 minutes into the second movie, and this is the first time a plot is introduced when you meet
Jack
the-
Hyde.
or the
Leela?
the sub,
Yeah.
his former submissive.
Yeah, but do you see how like even that like was kind of a
It
thing
was-
and then
yeah.
just like ended?
It was
and
like
it was like almost like it
Yeah,
never
it was
happened.
there are just a bunch of plot threads. There's
Because
not a
fan
story.
fiction is kind of written in that way.
That
Because a lot of people who are like, again, if you're reading a fan fiction that's popular enough, you are reading chapter by chapter.
right, that does make more sense. It doesn't, knowing that these are full books.
Oh, and I'll get to that.
Okay.
So the other point about fan fiction is that these are characters that you already know because they're Edward and Bella, so you don't need to develop them within a fan fiction
Okay.
because the reader already knows who these people are. So
Okay.
that also kind of answers to like Christian and Anastasia. Boy, I don't know a hobby or a thing about these people
No.
whatsoever.
No.
Because it's already built in. By the way, did you catch? I did not. Jose, this kind of like third character,
Yeah.
is Jacob.
Oh.
Yes.
I also have never really seen the Twilight movies. I
But
think
you
I said
know.
this. But I know who Jacob is.
you
yes.
know he's like the third
I know he's
in
Taylor.
this- Yeah.
Gotcha. I want in the books, and maybe you don't know the answer to this, but in the book,
I don't know. Maybe I do.
maybe you do now. Does he play a bigger part in the books than he does in these movies?
Jose does. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Actually, yes.
Yeah,
he
because
does.
I was like, this is
Weirdly enough, he's actually like a big part of their friend group and appears a lot. And it's like he's the same guy who like tried to hit on drunk Dakota.
right. Yeah,
in the
no,
first
he's
movie.
a straight up creep.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't like him either. He tried
No.
to. We'll get into him.
Yes, we'll get into him. So you brought up the fact that like you would expect better from a full blown book that was published.
Right.
Well, when the book was published by this Australian publishing house that basically was known for just publishing popular fan fictions.
Oh,
Just kind of one of these like we just
Yeah.
publish like 12 books a fucking week or
right.
whatever.
Yeah.
And this is some real shit that I was like, okay, let's hear more. So E.L. James.
Okay.
Let's hope she doesn't hear this because she is very defensive. Let's just say
I do
about her work.
I do know this about
Okay.
50 Shades criticism being heavily defended. Yeah.
Yes. So even when it was just a fan fiction, she like was almost notorious for responding to every comment,
Mm.
which would drive up engagement in the fan fiction,
Right, and
would
that's
pump it up.
why
to
it got so popular.
part of the
how-
reason
Yeah.
because it was, and I mean, kind of like we see this in our own society where it's like it's being talked about, but no one really knows what it is. So people
Right.
buy
Yeah.
it out of
Oh
curiosity.
yeah, that 100%.
Like I read the first 7 chapters out of curiosity.
Yeah.
Um,
I've read so many excerpts of this book.
Oh yeah.
And people have read excerpts to me. Like it's
Yeah. It's a thing. It's a
Yeah.
thing. So when this book went to published, apparently E.L. James scared some editors and even chased
Love it.
away some people who were trying to like help edit the book.
oh my god.
And they just really couldn't get through to her. So
Hmm.
it published as is. And
Okay.
then it just accidentally became
This
the
phenomenon.
phenomenon. So when the first movie came out in 2015, that was directed by Sam Taylor Johnson,
Yes.
screen written by Kelly Marcel.
Yeah. And
They
I
lost those two
yeah, I
going into
remember
this
Yeah.
because E.L.
James wanted to take over. Yeah, I
yes,
remember
was,
that.
like, hardcore creative control.
Yeah.
So now we bring it all the way here to this film, which is adapted for the screen by E.L. James's husband.
Interesting.
And also because it's Universal, right? Who has it?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
So Universal kind of felt like, okay, the 15 minutes are running out. Apparently, like this film and the next film we're going to see was made with like half the budget,
Yeah, and they were filmed.
first
They were
one,
filmed
like same time.
They were filmed at the same time to save money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is where we are at now. And this is information I knew before watching the movie. And I don't know if it was the context or the fact that we have seen this movie before,
Yes.
but I did not hate watching this movie.
No, I liked this one better. And
I
everyone
do
says the
think I
first
like this one better.
one, because there is a little bit more happening, even though it's
Yes.
still, I'm gonna say it's still boring.
Yes.
I still do notice myself fading out until the sex scenes happen and then
Sure.
popping back in.
Sure.
And then being like, that's still a little disappointing, but okay. And
Yeah.
then fading out again, and then the same roller coaster.
Yeah, there's like real stakes.
Yeah, there's
Because seemingly like they are constantly on the edge of being murdered by somebody.
yeah, several different
Which
people.
is a nice change of pace, actually.
Yeah, no, that's what I said. Like, plot is finally introduced in these movies.
Yes.
For the first time.
Yes.
But I guess let's start at the beginning because they're broken up at the start of this movie. Just hops right into it. Like,
Yes.
no, you're just like in the middle of sad Dakota Johnson.
Oh yeah.
Reeling from.
Well, it starts with that flashback into Christian Grey's life,
right. Yes.
which is quite a way to begin a
Yeah.
movie about Benoit balls.
yes.
Like, it's a pretty dramatic.
yeah,
like
yeah.
that man's mom's being
Well,
killed.
yeah, no, he has a pretty traumatic origin story.
Yeah.
It's pretty dark.
Yeah.
It's darker.
It is.
About 50
50
Shades.
Shades, I'd say.
But
50
yeah,
Shades of fucked up.
yeah. I'm never gonna get over that line. But yeah, we see sad Dakota Johnson, and now she's she's a receptionist at a publishing company.
Yes. Real quick. Kate, the roommate, is she married to Elliot, Christian's brother?
I don't think they're married, but I think they're in a very hot and heavy relationship.
Because he was like talking about Christian like that brother-in-law of mine, and I was like, pump the brakes.
Well, he would be.
that doesn't even make sense unless you are.
I mean, they were at the beach. Were they on like a honeymoon when she FaceTimed him?
I figured they had just gotten married. Maybe I'm extracting something more from that.
Maybe. I mean, the timeline, the speed at which relationships move in this movie is baffling.
I think this movie takes place over the course of, I'm not kidding, a week.
Yeah.
Or 8 days.
Yeah, no, it seemed, because we pick up right where we left off, although at some point she had gotten a job.
I guess let's give it like 3 months.
Yeah.
in
No,
between.
it's
I
not-
don't even know.
No, it's a couple months. It's a handful of months.
Something.
I know you're very protective over handfuls and
Oh yeah. The okay,
Yeah,
but
but
whatever.
this
Time
is a
has
separate
passed.
thing,
Time
yeah.
has passed. It's her first day as a receptionist.
Is
or
it her first?
assistant.
Is it her first date? Because she's like friends with Hannah, and they're Anna.
I
and Hannah.
thought I heard the dialogue of like, "Welcome to the team."
Oh, maybe it might be. I don't know. That's the thing that I would
Fuck
have
it.
glazed over. Who cares?
Even knows?
But yeah, she's a receptionist to
Jack Hyde.
Jack. Which, are you fucking kidding me with that name?
It's a great name for that character. Because you know what? It's like this fucking guy. And as it turns out, yeah, that fucking guy.
Yeah, he's like very handsome in a slimy way.
Yeah. He is so slippery from the minute they don't even make any attempt to like, oh, he's a nice guy.
No, he has
by the way, that means every man in Anastasia's life outside of her own father
is a
and
quote
Christian
unquote is a quote unquote nice guy.
Yeah, but is like a sleazo.
Yes. No, he has some Draco Malfoy kind of vibes to him.
Oh my god, he is.
But he really enjoys the coverage of a manuscript that she did, and
Christ.
I don't know. Then we like immediately, like, we're jumping right into it. Plot moves fast. We go to Jose's art show, which is a man she should no longer be friends with, and especially after she walks into this art show.
Fuck, this was crazy.
That is illegal.
Crazy.
I would.
How do you not know? First of all,
I would flip the
Anastasia,
fuck out.
when did you pose for these photos?
Yeah, they're
I hope
posed.
to fuck they were before.
Yeah, I mean, I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt and like assuming that he was like, it's an art project, just like come and take these photos, like not
and this
realizing.
was before he assaulted her. I'm also hoping that this
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah. And she comes to the show anyway to find out there's a whole like gallery of her face.
How was the like gallery not named like Anastasia?
Yeah.
Or something like this is a portrait.
Well, because it can't be named Anastasia.
I guess you're right.
That would be very funny though.
I don't know, like portraits of a woman I know named Anastasia Steele.
Portraits of a Lady on Fire.
I just don't know how you walk into that.
Yeah.
And she must not have any friends outside of Kate and Jose.
I guess who is not her friend. He is exploiting her, and
he's a stalker.
He's a straight up stalker.
He is the first stalker I would say we meet in this film.
Yeah,
of the three.
Well, also, so we go in and she realizes that the like featured section of this art show is her.
Yeah,
and she didn't know, and he was like, "Well, you wouldn't let me do it if I told you." And
yes, that's exactly right.
Which
Jose.
is not an excuse.
That's exactly right, Jose.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like she could sue him.
Yeah, and as we
and
learned,
should sue him.
They were for sale.
Yes,
she literally is owed compensation at that point.
She is owed compensation, and also to put someone's portrait on sale without them knowing.
That is crazy.
Is insane.
That is so crazy.
If she said that, I'd be like, you can't sell these. People can't have me in their house.
No.
And of course, who buys them?
Oh, but thankfully,
the good news is the knight in shining armor.
It's just your sadistic ex-boyfriend, Christian Grey.
Thank God.
Who looks really good.
Yeah.
You know what?
He's
looks
flexing.
Dakota Johnson looks incredible. I thought both of them looked hotter in this movie than they did in the one before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I agree.
Just want to make sure that was.
Yeah. Well, she
that.
has dropped her like shy girl thing, which was manufactured by someone's idea of a shy girl.
Yes.
And he has scruff, which is
what folding ideas, which don't listen to this podcast, just watch this. But what they brought up is the fact that like Dakota Johnson and Jamie Dornan obviously decided to stay with the movie versions of these characters versus trying to keep it to the book, because the book version of these characters are not real human beings.
Sure. And I mean, the movie version
and that is very generous to the movie version of these characters too.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's a little bit more cojones. Her hair looks better.
Yes.
He's got a little scruff, which I like to think that like he grew this beard because he was so
distressed. Oh yeah, he couldn't bring himself to shave.
Anna, what could I do?
No, that's a breakup beard.
Love it.
I know a breakup beard when I see one.
Yeah, and you know what? He's wearing it very fucking well.
He's wearing it well. He looks
very
good.
Hot. So, but not hot enough that buying. I guess in this scenario, I'd be a little bit like, well, I guess if anyone was gonna fucking pick these up.
Yeah, at least it's
someone
my ex-boyfriend who I broke up with because he enjoyed whipping me.
Yeah, but then immediately he's like, let's go to dinner. And she was like, sure.
Yeah.
Like,
she said no half a time. And then he asked again and she said yes.
Okay, I guess. But to be fair, you know that was like going to be like a $600 dinner. Like,
oh, yeah.
I mean,
if I have a rich ex and if I have an ex that's that rich and they offer to take me to dinner, it would take something pretty awful for me to say no. I'll be like,
I would really have to hate his fucking guts.
Yeah. Something really.
But obviously the feelings are still there, of course.
Obviously, they're still. I mean, you look into his steely gray eyes.
Of course.
Yeah. You.
I think then it's at dinner where Anastasia learns that Christian has just bought the publishing company that she's working for now.
Is that no? I think that's later.
I thought it was like she was saying
no, because
the deal hadn't gone through yet. So when that guy was fired, he was like, "Yeah, the deal's not gone through." But
no, because he was when they were cooking dinner later. He's like, "So what's morale like at the company?"
Oh, that's when he says that he bought the company.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So something.
What do you even talk about at dinner?
I have no idea about getting back together. About
I think it's that
he wants to renegotiate terms, and like she's like, "You can't." Dude.
I want to bring anal fisting back on the table.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about this, but
look, I know. Yeah.
Oh, right. This is where she says, "Let's date vanilla."
Yes.
Okay.
Let's have let's go my speed.
Yes.
Which is, I think, fair.
Yeah, because as we learned, her speed is actually pretty quick, I would say.
Her speed is still very quick, and she's still like down, like it's clear throughout the movie she's still down to like try stuff. She just like went in way over her head too quickly.
Not to get ahead of this, but very mild.
Very mild.
All the kink
but if
in
like
film.
this is still the first person you've ever had intercourse with.
That is true.
This is the
I will
first time.
say it.
Like, so she's curious and willing to try stuff, but we can't just
I
go
will say on the
deep
low
end
scale,
first. Yeah.
Being handcuffed, blindfolded, whatever. On the high scale, Benoit balls, which we will discuss.
We will discuss.
We will discuss. This episode is actually sponsored by Benoit balls.
Yeah. So there's some wild fluctuation in what level they're at. But it remains
Basically,
pretty
that dinner
neutral,
was
I
just
think.
like, I'm still hella horny for you, like, and I am also horny for you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's see where this takes us.
Yeah, so they're back and she's like, all right, let's do normal couple stuff.
Yes.
Let's cook dinner together.
Yes.
And I don't know if they go from dinner to cooking dinner together.
You know, it may be because when they have sex, I did make a note that they had sex while they were still making dinner. And I was like, did they go to sleep on an empty stomach?
And have sex on an empty stomach.
Oh no, the calorie deficit in
Is,
that. You would
yeah,
have to
I'm fade.
carb
I
up,
also
Christian.
he was they cut to him chopping and he chops like a full-blown serial killer.
Okay, I think that was on purpose though, because he's like rich boy. He's never had to cut his own food.
Yeah, the way he chopped made me nervous. And it also made me think, and hear me out, I think these movies would be much, much better if the whole thing was framed like a thriller. Like a psychological or like like a old school if that was the tone and that's what we were going
that's the character that Christian Grey is
exactly.
But we're putting on this masquerade that he's actually like really romantic.
So if we did like a Fatal Attraction kind of thing,
yes,
these movies would have been driving to somewhere,
yes,
at least, or we could have put in, I mean, I know maybe this is not what they were going for, but we could have put in a plot that works for a movie.
Yes.
So I know what I'm looking for.
Versus literally just like fantasy after fantasy after fantasy.
Right.
Like these two characters are supposed, like, they just represent like, I mean, like a mommy porn fantasy.
Right. And
I did think it was actually hot when he was preparing dinner.
Yeah, I mean, again, his knife work made me nervous, but
I was looking at his fingers, but I wasn't looking at his knife work.
Ayo. Yeah, no, he was just he was like piercing the pepper and then
don't
like
you want a rich dumb boy that you could be like, oh my God, you've always had servants. Let me teach you.
No, I want a boy who can cook for me
and spend money on me.
No, because I get very frustrated when I like have to tell my boyfriend how to properly load a dishwasher.
Oh, true, I guess.
Well,
we know the kind of man I'm looking for.
You're looking okay. Well,
rich himbo.
Sarah's DMs are open, as we always say on our podcast.
Of course, but if you DM me, I'll block you
immediately.
Sorry, 2021, new boundaries.
But yeah, they go to bed and they have normal-ish sex.
Yeah, by the way, it was like, I want to take it slow. And like 3 minutes later, they're having sex. Like, well, yeah. I would not describe that as slow, but okay.
Like, I think that was like, she can't resist him. And he is.
Oh, of course. And also,
let's
get to the fucking.
Yeah.
Let's get to the fucking.
Yeah. Yeah.
This movie's about fucking. Let's see the fucking.
I will say, it is, and this was more of a note for the end, but it's unfair that we don't see dick.
It is unfair that we don't see dick. And
we could see dick in these movies. They're rated R. We get a dick shot.
But I did read ages ago. I was reading an article about intimacy coordinators. And actually the reason why we don't see more dick on screen in sex scenes is because realistically those dicks would be hard. And showing an erect penis
you can't
on
show
screen
an erect penis
is a little bit different than
a soft penis.
Just like titties and like the profile of a bush.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But I do agree. I think that's...
Because there's one scene where he's walking around naked and you almost think you're going to see at least the top of his dick.
You know what? At least in the other movie, they did have a pube shot on him.
Yeah.
But you know what? The last movie was directed by a woman and this one's directed by a man. I think the male gaze is at work in this film.
It is. Okay, yeah. But this dinner scene is where... if it's first brought up that he's buying her company, and then they do not resolve that fight at all. They just start having sex.
No, and he fucks her with jeans on. He fucks her with, that's my note. He fucks her with jeans on.
Sex jeans.
Dude! Exclamation point. Dude!
That's gotta hurt.
He fucks her with jeans on.
That's like...
But he's a sadist. But he has sex jeans. Like, that's literally
a
part of the book.
Jeans.
That he has like his dom jeans.
Yeah.
My dom jeans are jeans that I won in an auction that had been previously worn by Vin Diesel in a Fast and Furious movie.
I was gonna say
Woo! God, it took forever to get to that joke.
Yeah, I was gonna, I had one, but you did the same one.
God, I was breaking out in fucking sweat trying to get to the end of that one.
Yeah.
Christ.
But yeah, this is a pretty big conversation they need to have, and they never return to it in the movie.
I did write down a line.
Fine.
I did write down a line. Christian asks Anastasia basically like, so why back to me? Like, how did you fall back to me? And she said, and I quote, I was reading Austen and Bronte.
Yeah, no one ever...
And then she continues to be like, and nothing thrilled me the way you had. I was like, Jesus.
Yeah,
Christ.
she sucks.
I know this is written by a fan fiction author.
She sucks.
Can you put it away? Can you put it away for 2
Yeah. Also,
fucking
like, you're an
seconds?
adult woman. Grow up.
Austin and Bronte. Those were the 2 you.
Yeah.
Christ.
Also, you're not taking away what you're supposed to from Jane Austen if that's your takeaway.
Yeah, I just.
But anyway, yeah. So
And this is also where she says kinky fuckery, which is a great line.
Which is a great line. His face when he's like, "Oh, kinky fuckery" is
Like,
is
oh, the name of my band.
yeah, kinky fuckery. But yeah, I mean, and part of this movie is like him learning how to have a relationship in which you fight and disagree with the other person.
Yeah.
But this is a very, and like, so I get that he doesn't know how to have this without just like cutting to sex, but then return to it because this is a pretty big fucking deal. This is a pretty big invasion.
The morning after, he also puts money into her bank account, which he also has.
Which is, okay, I want to talk about this. The money in their bank account is insane. She like
kind of hot.
Okay.
Kind of hot. Kind of hot. If someone honest, okay, I would be disturbed about the privacy, but if a guy was like, yeah, I just like PayPal'd you 24 grand.
I would feel deeply uncomfortable. I'd be like, what do I owe you now?
This ass.
Yeah. I don't, yeah, that was another thing where I'm just like, okay, Anastasia, you're supposed to be leading here's what I want.
Yeah, now he basically has. But to be fair, it's the money that is supposed to be her money because he sold her car. That's the car money from last movie.
Oh.
Yeah, 24 grand.
I didn't realize
And notice
that.
she gave the 24 grand up for auction.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I know that. But here's what I want to talk about.
See, there are plots in this movie. You just have to remember the 2 or 3 times it's said in passing and then piece it together.
Yeah.
In a mind palace that you've created for the 50 Shades
movies
trilogy.
where these are locked
for work.
away. Yes. For work. This is my job.
For work.
So I wanted to bring up some maths I did.
Okay.
And these are maths I did, so I might be wrong.
Okay.
And how I did this, but I did text you during this point. And he says, she's like, $24,000, that's too much. And he says, I make that kind of money every 15 minutes. So
let's see.
Calculated his annual salary. And again, I know what I did is not right because what I did is basically divide how many minutes in a year, which I had to Google, not realizing that I know the answer, and divided by 15. So that's how I arrived at this number.
Okay.
I think
but
that
he
adds
probably
up.
is making so much passive money that he does literally every 15 minutes.
Yes, because the number, I mean, they call him a billionaire later in this movie. And
apparently he has more wealth than like Tony Stark.
No, well, because based on this calculation,
okay,
he is not quite a billionaire.
But this is just an annual.
But this is just an annual earning, so he might have like other deals and stuff.
I mean, what's an escrow?
Exactly. I mean, he has his assets. He has multiple houses.
He has if it flies in the air, he owns
right.
it and can
So he
drive
has a lot of assets. So I didn't calculate those.
Sure.
It's just he says he makes that kind of money.
This is his
so this
annual
is so per year, if I did this right,
okay,
he makes $840.96 million.
Okay. So
not
pretty good.
Not quite a billionaire, but definitely close. And I think if you put his assets into, he's a billionaire.
Well, I mean, again, this is just assuming this is passive money. This isn't even like if
he this is just his salary
makes a deal at
Greyco.
His job. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck he does for a living.
So this is just what his salary is at Greyco, presumably, whatever.
For this scene, I did write down a note. Bitch, pay my student loan.
Yeah. Sure.
By the way, and this is actually around the part of the movie where I came up with the theory. Christian Grey, obviously upper echelon, upper class, crazy money, right?
Yeah.
But I think Anastasia Steele is upper class.
I think she does come from money.
I think they're trying to present her as like, maybe not, but literally she must have grown up in a 6-figure household.
She's, I would maybe like upper middle class. Yeah.
I would say low upper middle. Because her parents are divorced.
Yeah, and it seems like her dad isn't in a great spot.
That's right. The dad is a parent. But again, it's one of those like fake presentations of
right. It's
money.
It's
in
someone
film,
who didn't. Yeah.
where it's like someone who's middle class has like a home with a fucking like gallery kitchen and a 3-bed. It's like
Right.
okay, that's not what middle class looks like.
Yeah.
But I definitely think Anastasia Steele comes from money, just not like gray
Yeah.
level money.
Well, it was funny
Money,
because at this point in the movie, I was like, yeah, he's rich, but is he like close to being a billionaire rich? And then
Yeah.
later in the movie, it started making more sense that he is close to being a billionaire.
This is also the
rich.
first time that Jamie Dornan really struggled with the American accent in some of these scenes.
Whenever he has to do, and like he's been good in other movies. I don't judge his
Yes.
acting based off these movies.
No.
But yeah, his American accent in other movies
Well,
he's been in has
unfortunately,
slipped.
he had to say the word like gun a lot,
Good.
which is like gun versus
Yeah.
like a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give
Poor
me
guy.
the gun.
He had, both of them just had to say the worst shit you could ever possibly
Yeah.
say. Because, of course, given the screenwriter, the dialogue from this book is like almost copy paste in the movie.
Yikes. Yeah, not great.
Every time I would start to fall into like a hole of like, I think I might be actually like enjoying watching this movie.
Yeah, something
Someone
happened.
would say something. It would be a dialogue for me this time.
Oh.
Someone would say something that would make me be like, okay,
Right.
throw it in.
So yeah, so after they get together, there's like a woman in the bedroom.
Oh,
And this is the first
is-
and this is the first time that plot is introduced in these
Yes.
movies. Is there's clearly a woman who is stalking. We find out it gets some money for me, but we find out later that she is
a former submissive.
a former submissive who was like obsessed with him and is like essentially a stalker of both of them.
Yeah, probably because he gaslit and manipulated and abused her
Yeah.
for months on end and then left her with nothing. And now she doesn't have a purpose in life anymore because
Right.
obviously, as we see later, she is still so obedient to him.
Yeah.
It's fucked up, Mary.
Yeah, it's not.
I'm going to say it. It's fucked up.
I'm gonna say it's a red flag that should have popped up for Anastasia.
Christian Grey so far has been nothing but green flags. I do think this time it is going to have to be red.
Yeah.
Anastasia.
Yeah. But you know what? She doesn't. She gets a little.
But you said it was something like $84 million a year?
No, $840 million a year.
Oh. Well, I mean, who doesn't have some stalkers? You know what I mean?
I know. You know.
At that price.
At that, yeah.
But they do have, there's kind of like a argument about, because is this before or after she comes up to Anastasia on the street and is like,
Oh yeah.
I was once his.
This is after that.
Yes.
She
Because then
accosts
they get
Anastasia.
kind of like
yeah.
into an argument about it.
Right.
And then this is the scene that I really love,
Yeah.
where Christian is like, these are my boundaries.
Yeah.
and
Oh, the
draws
roadmap.
Lipstick
Yeah.
around his
Which he does.
chest.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the beginning of some of the longest night I've ever seen portrayed.
This
in a
is a
movie
long
or
night because by the
anything.
time they wash off that lipstick, I'm like, that shit's
They're
still on
a
him.
boat. They did a whole masquerade ball. They've had sex twice,
And he's still like, he didn't sweat at all.
which I do admire the continuity.
Sure, I
But
guess.
when I saw I was like, is this motherfucker still wearing this fucking lipstick?
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's like kind of hard to. What kind of. It's a lip stain at that point, at the very least.
no
it's not.
transfer whatsoever.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sweat it off. Nothing. It's
Nothing.
pristine.
That is good lipstick.
So I guess they're drawing it around. I guess he has like burn marks on his chest.
He has burn marks on his chest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then
That's a thing from the books. I think it's from his. I mean, they kind of.
sure, because
Yeah.
he's been abused by this woman. Oh, and we briefly meet the Mrs. Robinson woman who
yes.
abused
Yeah.
him.
He
Oh,
takes her
I
to
think
meet.
this is part of where they get into a tiff.
Yes.
They get into so many of these little scraps.
Some
you know?
tips that she's like, you need to learn how to fight. And he's like, aren't we fighting? And she's like, no. And then they have sex. And then they don't return to the
Yeah.
major conflict that will still remain in their relationship.
And I do think this is around the time where he asks her to move in with him. They've
Yeah.
been dating again for 4 days.
Which is the time.
Maybe. Honestly, maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe even
So
less.
it's time.
So she takes a shower, she gets her hair done. She puts on this lingerie that she looks amazing in.
Incredible.
But then later when they have sex, she's not wearing that lingerie. So I think Christian just had her wear that getup for like the afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, she looked hot
She
as
looked
hell.
fucking great.
Yeah.
There was that shot of her in the mirror. Her body looked absolutely fucking slamming.
Yes.
If I were her, I would have asked to keep that.
Yeah. She should have.
Yeah, she looks fucking
She
great.
looks incredible.
This is one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah,
in all of these movies.
Yeah,
this is where Dakota Johnson earned at least an Academy Award nomination.
Yes.
From the line delivery of, "You're not going to put those in my butt."
Yeah, I mean,
I was going to say balls. They're balls.
They're balls.
You're not going to put them in my butt. The balls.
You're not going to put your balls in my butt.
You're not going to put your balls in my butt. You're not going to put those balls in my butt. I'm not going to put your butt in your balls. So anyway.
But we know how sex works.
Isn't she
Sarah
so
and I know how sex
Isn't
works.
she so naive that she looks at Benoit balls and thinks they're anal beads? Like, Anastasia, grow up.
Grow up.
You got that laptop. You didn't do any fucking research about sex toys. Prude.
Yeah, he comes up to her, look in that lingerie, and he's gawking at her.
Lipstick still on the chest, and he's wearing this white
shirt. That shirt costs thousands of dollars.
And
it's a tuxedo shirt.
Yeah,
it's.
I mean, he's obviously wearing an undershirt, but it's like no transfer on that lipstick.
I know. Wash it off though. That's a very expensive shirt.
Truly though.
Like I know you have a lot of money, but still, like these are your things. We know you take care of your things very well. Like
the women who you treat as things.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so he comes in and he's like, "Tonight will be more fun if you wear these." And he like takes out some Benoit balls and she has no clue what they are.
Literally.
And he doesn't bother really explaining until she's using it.
Of their dating.
Yeah. And he's like, "Well, first you have to get them wet," in the scene where he puts them in her mouth.
Oh God, the worst. I felt really bad for Dakota.
I didn't love that part.
I did kind of hate that.
Because he does fold them up like balls.
Yeah. And you know what? This is too much to ask. Can we at least depict a little bit of responsibility? Like, is lube so out of your pseudo-Mormon beliefs that we couldn't have just seen him squirt some lube on those?
Lube.
Like, if we're going to go all the way of showing these
lube
balls,
is no good, but Benoit balls are fine.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, can we just be real?
I don't know. But yeah, then...
Put some fucking lube.
Yeah.
In pop culture, please.
But lube. Normalize lube in pop culture.
Hashtag normalize lube.
But anyway.
The cat had something to say about that.
The
cat's coming over like, I actually have a point about that I'd like to make.
That is disturbing me.
I know. He's like a child. You can't listen to this.
Yeah, Bruce, go.
So anyway, after she has the Kegel balls in her.
After he inserts them into her, which is not a phrase I liked saying.
Nope.
She's like, "Well, what do they do?" And he goes, "Well, you'll find out." And he says something like charming, and then she laughs, and she's like, "Oh, that's what they do."
Oh yeah.
I like that. I did like that.
I really admire when
that was
Dakota,
good. Just like acting.
Yes,
yeah.
When Dakota and Jamie like really do try to
enjoy each other's presence,
like be funny about what's going on.
Yeah.
Like I thank you for bringing some levity to this.
Yeah.
Excruciating scene.
But
you have to say these things and you have to perform these things.
Yeah.
So thank you.
And then he like sets up dresses and hairstyles for her.
Very hot.
Very hot.
That is hot.
I didn't like any of the dresses, but the one she eventually chose looked
the
really
rack
good.
dresses versus the dress she ended up on are very different.
Are very different styles.
Yeah.
She looks great, but yeah, when she was going through the closet, I was like, I don't really like any of these.
Ditch this fucking furry shawl.
Yeah, she didn't need the shawl.
I did not like that.
She did not need the shawl. He was like, "Did I mention it was a masquerade ball?" And then she gets all giddy, which is cute.
Oh, and you know what though? We love a masquerade ball.
But a surprise masquerade ball, I would have been like, "Well, tell me," but he got her a perfect mask.
People,
it's not a thing. I don't think they're real. I don't think there's ever been.
I've literally only ever seen them on television.
Yeah, they're not real, but
we love. I love to see.
I love it. She looked great. Everyone looked great,
and you know what? They spared no expense because that party looked really fucking good.
Yeah,
they had kind of like that pan over of like the fire thrower and the juggler, and they cut to the singer a lot. Is that like an actual singer who we should know?
It must be. He had a very
prominent screen presence.
Yeah,
and a good voice.
And a good voice. Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting, but I did. So then she also really finds out what those balls do. What them balls do.
What them balls do, girl.
When she sits down. And she is like squirming in her chair. And I'm like, this is torture. You're next to his mother.
Yeah, that's disgusting, Christian. Can I actually, Christian? That's gross.
Yeah, you are around your entire family.
That's gross. By the way, I love that the gray estate is like equal parts childhood home. Because his childhood bedroom seemed very like modest, actually, in comparison. Normal. But they also have like this giant gala space.
Yes.
Like they fully have a ballroom attached to their home.
I loved his room.
Really great set design.
Some great touches by Universal Studios.
Of course, iconically, the Chronicles of Riddick
poster. Which just goes to show how little personality Christian Grey has, that the poster in his room is Chronicles of Riddick.
So much about him.
Yeah, he was like, this is the one movie I've ever seen.
Again, it's crazy that his childhood bedroom looks like kind of like a middle class, like little boy's room. It's like, no, I've seen the other parts of your house.
Yeah.
Not for nothing, but there's a scene where Mrs. Robinson, what's the woman's name? Elena?
Sure.
Or something.
Yeah, Elena.
I think it is Elena.
Yeah.
They go to the bathroom and they kind of have like this little like, you'll never be good enough for him. There's been so many women like you. Okay, they literally have like a restaurant grade multi-sink, multi-stall bathroom in their home.
Yeah, it's very weird.
Like they
the gray. I want the gray. You know,
the gray estate.
Have you ever watched those YouTube Architectural Digest home tours that celebrity do?
And Dakota Johnson's is iconic.
Yes, it is a good. I forgot about, but she did one.
Her limes.
But I very much want one for the gray home.
Oh, I would love that walkthrough because seemingly it's two separate spaces, which may be. I mean,
maybe there is a carriage house.
There are like those.
Yeah, maybe he did just like make his room in the carriage house.
Gala spaces on them. It's just funny how they're trying to pass off these two places as the same
it's
location.
A little confusing because I was like, did they leave the party?
Nope, he just went upstairs to his childhood bedroom.
Yep.
And they fuck.
And they fuck.
He stays fully clothed for this fuck session.
Yes.
Fully clothed.
Another fully clothed. And then we're back.
So something happens though as they're leaving. Oh! They go to drop Anastasia off at her home, at her apartment.
Oh.
But the security detail is like, stay in the car.
Yes.
And then after literally, poor Anastasia, because everyone's like, stay in the car. And now she's completely alone.
Yeah.
Which
doesn't seem safer.
Like, I would rather.
Yeah.
And so she finds out her car's been busted up.
Right.
Presumably by this woman.
Right.
So that's when Christian is like, there's only one place safe enough for us now. And they go down to his boat.
Yeah.
Which I really enjoyed.
That is such a long scene of them driving that fucking boat.
And this is the same evening where earlier, like around 2 p.m., Christian had the whole lipstick on his chest.
Yeah.
And that morning they woke up and there was like a stalker had been in her home.
It was a long day.
So it was an extremely long day.
Yeah. There's a lot of long days. They still
managed to fuck on that boat.
They still, he finally washes the lipstick off his chest.
She washes it off.
Yeah, they fuck on that boat. Is that where he has the nightmare?
No, because she goes looks out onto the Seattle skyline.
Right. Yeah,
when he's having a nightmare.
Yes.
No, well, let me see what my notes say, because the last thing I wrote down was, living for this. Oh, no, I'm sorry. My notes in order are, he still has that fucking lipstick on. God, this dialogue is really bad. And then living for the sailing. Because they go sailing.
Oh, yeah.
They go sailing.
It's a
Christian.
And then it's a very long scene of the boat.
Pull on that rope. You would know thinking too bad ropes. for 15 minutes.
He is also tying knots like a lunatic.
Well,
yeah, which is what he does, and like she makes a like little nod to it. But like I'm not a sailor, but I've been around a boat, and what he's doing is just braiding a rope.
Yes, and then they go back to Christian's apartment. Then this is where we're introduced to the Gaper, which of the sex toys seems the most.
Oh, the leg spreader thing.
Yeah, I think. Do they call it the Gaper? Is that what I just called it?
I don't know, but I don't think I've ever heard that word.
It is the least appealing of the sex
I
toys.
thought, okay, when he puts it on and then he spreads it apart even more.
Ouch.
And I was like, you just tore her ACL. Like this, as someone who has had traumatic knee injury, I know a tear when I see one, and you tore a tendon, sir. My knees can't do that.
I'm not kidding. I would rather be flogged.
Yeah, no,
I would rather be flogged than this thing. I don't like. Ugh. I don't know, man. It's just nasty. It's nasty. It's nasty.
That one didn't bother me. Just when he opened it, and I was like, "Oh my god, her knees."
I think what it got to me was when he single-handedly flipped her over by using the bar. That was okay.
I didn't mind that.
All right, Bridgett, new kink unlocked, I guess.
I mean, I thought it was cool that he was able to just flip her with one hand.
Just as a sheer sign of strength, which is the male gaze at work, of course. No, I didn't like the way that looked. It was the broad daylight of it all. I just was like, I'm yucked by this one. Sorry, BDSM community. I wasn't into this one.
That's fair. I thought her knees were gonna explode. My knees certainly would explode.
Yeah.
My knees are always 2
From
seconds
sexual
away.
Pleasure.
Sure.
No.
I have bad knees.
But then this is where we see that Christian is like a mini gymnast.
Yes.
And he's working out.
So he wakes up the next morning. He's working out. He's doing some pull-ups fine to the weirdest workout music I've ever heard. He's listening to
Christian has very specific tastes. I mean, we know that. But
yes.
like in art and culture.
Yes, he's listening to like I want to say, I don't remember it exactly, but it felt like soft country. While working out, and then he does pull-ups, which fine, but then he has in the middle of his gym has a pommel horse, and he just does a quick planche and looks at her.
I just like that how often does he use the pommel horse that he justifies buying one for his personal home?
I mean, not enough if that's his routine, and he just does like the one to show off.
I feel like that was for her.
Oh, that was for her, and
for
also
sure.
100% not him.
And for me.
Yeah.
For all of us.
It was for us.
I actually do remember watching that scene in theaters, and you and I being like, this movie's pretty good.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
This is a pretty good part of the movie.
Yeah.
This is... well, okay.
Yeah,
all right, I guess.
I could watch him do some gymnastics.
Okay,
yeah.
I guess this isn't too terrible to watch. But speaking of terrible, after this, we go back to the office, and Jack Hardy's like, "You're coming to New York."
Jack Hardy?
Yeah. Isn't that his name? Jack Hardy? Jack
Hyde.
Hyde.
Hyde,
Hardy.
obviously.
Jack Hyde is like, "You're coming to New York with me." And then Anastasia proceeds to be like sexually harassed and assaulted at work.
Yeah.
By this fucking guy.
But at this point, why would that ding her? Like, why would that? This girl,
truly, her red flag
meter is
so off. It is remarkable that she did recognize that she was in danger.
Yeah. Well, and then when she like texts Christian, like, I have this work trip, and he was like, "You're not going," and
oh, dude,
like
a rock and a hard place.
I was like,
honestly.
you are surrounded by people telling you to do bad things, and
dude, you do not know a single man who
is
respects
good.
you, even remotely, or thinks of you as a human being.
I think you need to do some growing up on your own, girl, a little bit.
Yeah, just be single for a second, girl. It's fine.
Be single and like date around, see different kinds of dudes.
Yes,
especially non-toxic ones.
Yes. But I do like that she kicks him in the nuts. I do like that Anastasia has taken self-defense.
Yes.
She moves on him pretty fast.
Uh-huh.
And it's very romantic that Christian is waiting down there.
Yes.
And sends up his goon to, I guess, beat the shit out of Jack Hyde.
Yeah. He definitely.
I do have to admire Christian Grey for single-handedly ruining this dude's life. Because that day, he gets his ass fucking rocked by Anastasia. He gets his ass rocked by Christian's goon. Then he gets fired by Christian because he owns a fucking company. And then I'm just assuming that the word went out of like, this guy's a fucking creep.
Yeah, his career's over.
He should be.
Yeah, his career should be over.
This is what I'm saying. I admire this in Christian Grey for being like, you know what?
I mean,
fuck this guy.
This is why I own my girlfriend's company, so I can fire her boss for her.
Yeah, I mean, it's not exactly like the healthiest way.
It's not ideal, but
stand up for your girl. However, pretty hot.
But the next thing we know, she's in a meeting and she no longer has a boss. She in for Jack Hyde because she was previously his receptionist, mind you.
Yes.
And they're like, Anastasia, you wrote the coverage.
5 days later.
5 days later, Anastasia, you wrote the coverage for this book. Do you have any ideas? And she's like, what about the internet? And they're like,
by the way,
great,
did you
you're
pick
hired.
Up how masturbatory that her dialogue was?
Oh, incredibly.
That it was like, well, the online reading community is so huge. We'd be stupid not to market.
While she was spiking the camera.
Will that turn into sales? Like, you betcha. Wink.
Yeah.
Kill me.
Spiking the camera so hard.
And so because she has the great idea of publishing fan fiction, her like boss is like, you know what?
You're head of the company
Jack Hyde now.
Yeah, you're head of the company. And I'm sure there are probably so many people at that company that hate her.
Oh,
Can you imagine? There's like some woman there who's worked there for
but
like
Anas-
25
but
years.
You're forgetting that Anastasia is not like the other girls.
She is not
And
like the other
everybody
girls.
loves her.
She knows about the internet.
Yeah, she's
Kind of. I mean, she learned about it 3 days ago, but yeah, she's all over the internet.
Yeah, I wrote down a line. She said, one of the like detractors says, online hits don't turn into book sales. Oh, please.
Also, this movie came.
EL.
What year did this movie come out? What year are we in?
Unfortunately, I know this is 2017 that this movie came
And
out.
brilliant. She thought of going to the internet.
It's weird actually how like little the internet plays a role in these movies. If you recall,
Yeah, she just got an email address.
She
in the
literally
last
had
movie.
to learn like Google, like look up
With sex.
porn essentially.
Yeah. Find out what sex is.
Yeah, this movie, like this whole series really does not want to acknowledge like the internet Wi-Fi. It really barely it barely includes phones whatsoever, because I feel like every time they have a tiff, it's like, I try to call you, it's like, I turn it off. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Who turns off their phone?
Yeah, what the fuck is that?
You put it on Do Not Disturb.
So Christian and Anastasia, this is where they have their elevator fingering.
Oh.
In an elevator ride that looks like it lasts 7 minutes.
I mean,
and nobody gets off. Somebody gets off.
Someone gets off. It must, because she completion.
Yeah.
So
apparently
that's a long elevator ride.
they were just there for a long time. I would not like to be one of those background that were filming that.
Yeah.
Quite
but
uncomfortable.
But whatever. Charming scene.
Yeah. And then Anastasia is like running up to her apartment to grab like some things because they're gonna move in together.
Right.
And yes, okay. So you were confused about the moving in together marriage timeline. I can help you here.
Okay.
So this is, yes, I'm gonna move in. I'm just gonna go to my apartment and grab some things.
Mm-hmm.
When she's in there, that's when Leela shows up.
Right.
By the way, we skipped this, but Anastasia has a line that's like, she looked deranged and she had band-aids on her wrists. Like, oh no, she's crazy.
Yeah.
They really make her so crazy in this movie. This crazy woman. Like, we get it. We know. We can see her. She looks like shit. Her life has been ruined by this man. I feel bad for her.
She's in a gray hoodie.
Oh my, her eyes are sunken in and her brown hair is mousy and not made up.
How dare she?
Fucking hell, this fucking girl. So she's there with a gun, this is very soap opera.
Oh, yeah.
And again, though, where I actually liked watching this movie more than I liked watching the other movie, because like, ooh, something's happening.
Something's happening. It's not.
I'm concerned that someone might die in the scene.
Yeah.
There are stakes.
Yeah, something is happening. Again, I still was like, oh, look, something's happening. And I was like proud of the movie for moving a plot along, but I still wasn't that interested.
Is nuts. So she puts the gun up to Anastasia. Christian barges in. And through like the power of
suggestion,
doming,
yeah,
he like overcomes her to the point where she puts the gun down and then kneels.
Yeah. And that made me very uncomfortable.
What the fuck is this?
I was deeply uncomfortable, and I was like, I don't know who I'm rooting for in this scene, except for Anastasia to get the fuck out of there.
And the fact that she was Christian to be like, Anastasia, go, like several times. I was like, no, I would be so.
I was like,
gone.
Well, also I'd be like, are you gonna fuck her?
So gone.
Yeah,
yeah, that's the other thing. Like, what happens after that?
Yeah, what happens when she left?
I don't know. Is a blowjob cheating? This was weird.
Yeah,
I hated this.
I did not like it because
every point that Christian had won, I put in quotes, won for me at this point, gone. Because this was fucking psychotic.
This was very weird. And he was like even dressed and posed like the villain. Like he had that trench coat with the collar up. Like it was weird,
dude. It was weird.
It was very strange.
And she rightfully so runs away.
Yeah.
She stalks around Seattle for a while, but then does wind up back at his apartment, and then they do reconcile here.
Yeah.
And then they have sex.
Because how else do you solve a fight?
And then they have this completely unnecessary, elongated Dakota Johnson waking up in the middle of the night, walking out on the balcony with her titties all out. I'm like, no. First of all, it'd be way too cold.
Yeah, it's Seattle.
What she's wearing.
And she's in a high-rise building.
Yeah, no fucking way. So this is when he's tossing and turning because he's having nightmares. She rushes back to bed. this is where he first says, "Marry me."
Mm.
Oh, we got this
confused because
No, we got the pommel horse too early.
We got the pommel horse too early.
I
was very excited to talk about the pommel horse. Yeah.
The pommel horse. But anyway, so that's the first marry me. Then they have the pommel horse. Then he asks again.
Right.
So the timeline now is 2 times he's asked, never confirmed.
Yeah.
And then do we go straight into his fucking helicopter?
So he's like on a business trip. She's like,
he does say that he's a sadist.
Right.
Is part of this.
Yeah, at some point he's like,
that he's just like, listen, bitch, I'll just tell you.
Like, I'm
a fucking sadist.
Right, because this is when she's like, who is Elena? And like, he's like, well, I need to tell you, so I'm not a dom, I'm a sadist. Because she was his dom.
Yes.
This was earlier. We again skipped this. But I think after the poem, he's like, I have a business trip, so think about it. And then we see her on the
which I do just want to put a quick pin in the Christian Grey grooming manipulation, like his like tragic backstory. There's a lot of things to be offended about in these films. We're talking about how he's like abusive, manipulative, whatever. I actually think one of the biggest failings sexually about this whole story is that they kind of treat Christian Grey's like traumatic origin story as like a piece of fodder and like character backstory.
Yeah.
And it's like, you have an opportunity here to really examine how boys are victims of sexual violence just as a catch-all term.
Yeah.
And like, you actually have the ability to say something really interesting here. And because men are so very rarely portrayed as victims of sexual abuse.
Yeah.
And grooming. And even though like this is like, it could be true that he is a dom and sadist and also he was abused.
Yes.
Like these two things can be true.
You didn't have to relay the two. Like you didn't have to tie the two so closely together.
Instead of him being like, no, I liked all of it. It's like, I think it's actually stronger that he was a teenage boy who was groomed by an older woman.
Yeah.
And how this has affected literally every relationship. Because obviously this is a huge factor in their relationship. And their relationship is the whole fucking story.
Yeah. No, they really dropped the ball on this plot line.
Which he's also a perpetrator. Don't get me wrong. Like, he's no angel.
No.
I just think like, they could have done better.
There's
really a moment here to say something important about.
Yeah, and I think they could have done better by the BDSM community too.
Oh, I mean that good.
Without saying, by like making like he likes this because he had a bad childhood and it's fucked. Like, no, it's not. Maybe this helped him like get over some of his trauma.
That is true of a lot of people in the BDSM.
Sure,
community,
yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah, it helped them. Yeah,
almost like an immersion therapy where it's like, this is what I'm comfortable and I've taken control and ownership of my body and my desires and my wants.
Yeah, no,
but instead it's treated like as like
it's
literally pulp.
Well,
it's pulp fiction.
It's pulp. It's a little bit of. It's not even a little bit. It's irresponsible writing.
It is. I mean, of all the things to bring up, this is a main core issue with I think these movies and like the story in general is like. Just don't say it too loud because I don't want E.L. James to tweet us.
God,
I'm kidding. She doesn't use the internet.
And the traffic that would bring us. Sarah,
wait a second.
Let's bait this.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Let's put some bait on this hook.
But anyway, I just wanted to make that point that I feel bad for Christian Grey as like so much potential wasted there.
Yes,
but also it could be true of Anastasia as well.
Yeah,
I mean, there's
levels to why this is not good.
It's for sure. Least of which is
but let's talk
the
about
line kinky fuckery. But best of all, we're getting to literally my favorite thing that has ever happened in these 50 Shades movies.
Yes. So Christian goes on this.
Well, I do want to say they have like this little text back and forth, like Portland is boring without you or whatever the fuck they're saying. Mm-hmm. They have so much more chemistry when they're texting versus when they're talking.
Yeah, because they don't like each other.
Yeah,
and that's clear.
Christian is a simp. He is simping hard for his sub.
Yes.
By the way, another one of our Patreons. And one of our patrons on Patreon, plug, also said that he has knowledge of the BDSM community through a friend. And we talked about how we loved the negotiation scene.
Yeah. I did. We do read the comments.
Yes.
As long as they stay nice. We only read the good ones.
Yes. Mainly on the Patreon page.
And helpful.
Yes.
And this was, the topping from the bottom thing.
And I love that term.
Yeah.
Topping from the bottom.
Yeah, I do like that.
Pretty fucking
I do
cool.
like that, even though it is frowned upon.
It's not allowed in the BDSM community, but
That sounds
know.
like the name of my rap album.
Topping from the bottom. You want that to be the name of your rap album?
No, but
Yeah, stick with kinky fuckery.
stick with kinky fuckery, topping from the bottom.
Yeah, so Anastasia goes out to drinks with her friends, which includes Jose, which I don't think he
Not a
should be
friend.
there.
Not a friend.
And they get breaking news.
Although, I mean, who amongst us has it? I mean, it's kind of
Well, again, he's the Jacob of this story.
Yeah.
Like Jacob should not have been a hanger-on for as long as
I
he
do
was
think
in the
that's
Twilight books.
also realistic of girls in their in their early 20s.
You know what?
That like
Unfortunately, that
they
is true.
hang out with some dudes who probably and like kept some dudes as friends who probably
Didn't deserve it.
Who didn't deserve it and
You're right.
who have
You're
crossed
right.
boundaries in the way Jose has.
You're
But
right.
they don't address that, and it's kind of a non-topic. So really, this guy's just not a good guy.
Yeah, no, he's just again Jacob, but without actually having a role in this
Yeah.
story. But more importantly, they've gotten word
On the news, yeah,
Christian Grey has gone down.
in this helicopter, yeah.
The helicopter is missing. Christian Grey is missing.
Yeah.
The woman he was flying with is missing.
Yeah.
So dramatic.
Yeah.
Such the apex of the film.
Also,
Something that I think is going to take 30 minutes to resolve.
yeah. Well, again, because these movies have no plot, you don't know where you are in the movie.
No.
It is
but I
confu-
assumed,
yeah.
we're reaching like a denouement.
Yeah, no, I was like, okay, this movie might be longer because if we're introducing like the main, like this movie is, I guess,
obviously
a
this
little
is like
longer
the big
than I
part of the
thought.
movie. They rush to Christian's apartment. His whole family is there.
Yeah.
They're in tears, Anastasia and his mother.
Mm-hmm.
They're watching the news frantically.
Trying to call everyone they know, pull all their strings because this is a dynasty family.
Huge. And then Christian like just walks in fine.
Yeah,
And I think he even says, "Did I miss something?"
he's bleeding a little bit. Bleeding a little bit.
Not in a wheelchair, not brought in by cops, not brought in by
Walked
doctors,
home.
not brought in by EMT, not picked up at the hospital. Seemingly, he drove himself
Right.
from the helicopter crash.
From the helicopter
Back to his
crash
apartment.
into the dense Washington forest. Like that forest is
They went.
No
I think they
joke.
initially said his copter was missing entirely.
yeah, no, they showed he went down in like deep
He
woods.
died.
Yeah.
I don't know who walked into that apartment, but that was not Christian Grey. Because
And also,
Christian Grey died.
You don't think of checking into a hospital first? You just go home.
Well, clearly they saw him at the scene. They're like, "Mr. Grey, with your money, you're fine.
You
Just
can
get out
walk home."
Get out of here, you scamp."
I mean, that's why he does all
He
this.
doesn't even have a fucking bandage on him, but he's clearly bleeding.
He's
Clearly has
bleeding.
some kind of head injury.
I mean, that's what all those planches are for on the pommel horses, so you can walk away from a
you
helicopter
know what?
crash.
Much like Fast and Furious, no concussion protocol whatsoever. Walk it off, baby. You're fine.
yeah, rub some dirt in it.
Yeah.
Rub some lube in it.
Oh my god. But this is what ultimately. So yeah, we have this whole thing, which is like there and gone in 3 minutes.
3
it's my
minutes.
favorite 3 minutes maybe
Also,
in any
his
film I've ever
parents
seen.
are like, let's say they're just like say like, oh, I'm glad you're okay, and then leave.
Did they leave? Exactly. They just let him fall asleep that night. Like, wait a second.
Yeah, that man can't go to sleep. That is a very good point.
No.
Yeah, do not like. Did he go through?
And I did write down Rita fucking Ora because remember she's like an adopted sister
Yeah.
to the Grey. I mean, they're
Yeah,
all adopted.
They're all
right?
adopted. Yeah.
But like she's Mia, who's
Yeah.
the sister. Oh my god, Mia, another sister to
Another
a dom.
Mia. And Elena in this
and
movie.
an Elena. Yeah,
Yeah.
but we like the other Elena. This
Yes,
Elena is
this
a
Elena,
hideous bitch.
Yeah. Which I do love that she gets both. Okay, we'll go into this. So it's also Christian's birthday when he goes down.
No, his birthday is that weekend. I think Anastasia finds out like that night that it's Christian's birthday. Bridget just hit her knee on the table. So hard. Oh, Bridget just hit her knee on the table so hard. Yeah, do you like that, bitch?
I'm sweating. Okay.
I know that hurt because you hit your knee and then you were silent. And that's when you know it's really bad. It's okay. I'll cover for you while you just let you sit this out. So they find out it's going to be Christian's birthday. No, she finds out earlier because I think Anastasia, prior to the helicopter crash, gives Christian a gift.
Yes,
And
and she
puts
says
it in
don't
his coat
open
pocket.
it. Yeah.
Somehow that's still in his coat pocket after a motherfucking helicopter crash and it's like perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
that's when he pulls it out.
Helicopter crash NBD.
Yeah, it's a key
Chain. Yes.
Which do they have a thing about
She
keychains?
she also no. She bought it from like a little newsstand which I don't understand what this keychain was. So it's just a keychain
It's like
that
the
says
skyline of Seattle.
Seattle, but then it says yes on the back.
Because she's accepting his
Well,
marriage
no, I
proposal.
get that, but why do they sell
how
that
do they
keychain?
sell- I just assumed she got it. Maybe at the hardware
sh-
store she used to work at, they got it.
No, they showed her buying it at the newsstand.
Yeah, I don't know if they sell those.
Just Seattle, yes.
with like
Is
anything
that the
on
is that
them.
the state motto of Seattle or city motto of Seattle?
Yes.
Yes.
Also, I'm pretty sure that was Comic Sans.
100%.
I'm not even kidding. I
No,
think
it
that
was
Comic
Common
Sans.
Sense. Well, she bought it from a newsstand, but
So it's a yes.
yes.
Then we go to the actual end of the movie, which is Christian's birthday party at the Gray Estate. They're back at it again
Back at it again.
at the Gray Estate.
Yeah. He gives the least care for like a leader of a Fortune 500 company.
And as a man who is supposed to be just so fucking hot.
Yeah, cannot like stands up in front of this room and gives like the least charismatic speech.
A weird,
It's very
weird out of nowhere toast.
Yeah,
There's
I mean,
no life in the fact that he says like, I've asked Anastasia to marry me and she said yes. It's like,
yeah,
you're not, is there an excitement or you're in love?
Right,
You're
yeah.
so happy.
yeah, like you know how to
something.
talk in front of a crowd,
He's
Christian.
like giving a press conference. Like he's giving
Yeah.
a press statement.
yeah, there's no charisma, and like Jamie
None.
Dornan has quite a bit,
Yes.
and he just uses zero of it.
No, Rita Ora is there with everybody, including Jose.
Yeah,
Which again,
why
why?
we don't like
Why
this?
is he at Christian's birthday party? Christian literally punched the dude in the face.
Yeah.
Not but 2, maybe 3 months ago.
Yeah, they didn't make up. They have not hung out since.
And dating Anastasia all of these 8 days.
Yeah,
He's been around this entire fucking time.
but anyway, yay, they get married.
There's really not much else to say.
well,
here.
he runs. He
well,
runs
this
into
Elena,
Elena,
this is a good scene.
and she was like, "You didn't listen to me about staying away. You're just a mousy girl. You can't.
You're just after his money.
yeah." And like,
I want to play a role like this at that
yeah,
age.
and then this lady gets, and she gets Dakota throws a drink in her face.
Yes.
which she doesn't even seem to know she did because Dakota looks horrified that she
She like
did this.
she does that thing of like, I can't believe I just did that.
Yeah, and then
Very soap opera.
and
Dakota
then-
plays this so fucking well.
yeah, and then
Honestly, all 3 of the women who are in the scene must have been
Incredible.
eating
Yeah.
today. how
yeah,
fun
because
to do
Marcia
this
Gay
scene.
Harden, his mother,
Yes.
comes up and like hears that Christian said that he taught
Well,
her
first
how to
Christian
fuck.
comes up to Anastasia, and then the mom gets involved. Like seemingly, this conversation just continues to add people.
Add people,
the
yeah.
more
So Christian's
terrible
like, you
Elena
didn't teach
is."
me how to love Elena, you taught me how to fuck. And I think that was the first time his mother heard that his friend,
Yes.
that her friend fucked her son.
Yeah.
And then she slaps her right across the
Rightfully
face.
so. This is the only time where I feel like sex is represented correctly because
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, that should be the reaction you have.
Yeah, yeah. You're a good mom. Marcia Gay Harden, always the voice of reason.
Doesn't she say,
Get out.
No. She says, I wrote it down.
She's great in everything she
I
does.
thought I wrote it down. But doesn't she say something like, get the fuck out of our lives?
Yeah, she says something like that. She just like immediately turns on her friend, which is great. Which is
so good. Oh, by the way, we did miss that after they got engaged, Anastasia was like, take me to the red room. But all we're missing there is that she gets handcuffed, oiled up, and
Yeah,
fucked with a blindfold on. Like, I'm sorry.
that's nothing.
That's nothing.
You went to the red room, like the ankle thing was more than
That was more brutal. Yes.
Yeah.
The red room was more like the pink room. More
Sure.
like the fucking
Yeah.
maroon. No, it would have been too dark.
Yeah.
No,
It's just they just have like
fucking
they just have like some kind of fun sex, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, and then the movie
But back to then they finally he gets down on one knee, actually has a ring.
has a
I
beautiful
do love
proposal.
the way the
yeah.
boat house is decorated.
Yes.
Really, really pretty.
But yeah, flowers.
She looks great in that
pool,
red dress.
Fireworks.
Looks
Yeah,
beautiful.
looks beautiful. And then the movie ends on a shot of Jack Hyde across the lake, like
Burning a photo
like
of the
Gatsby,
Gray
like
family.
evil,
No, literally.
like evil Gatsby, watching this party from across the lake, holding a photo of the Gray family, smoking a cigarette with bloodshot eyes, burns Christian's face. Credits. The weekend credits.
You know what? There was no relationship montage at the end of this movie.
There was no relationship montage at the end of this movie.
This is okay. We
Which
did
is-
see the third one, and obviously we've seen the first one. I can confidently say this is my favorite of the 3.
I think so.
I don't remember a damn thing about the third film.
Nothing.
Except there's one thing I remember at the third film. But we'll talk about that next episode.
When we get there.
This movie, I remembered
might be
almost
my
all of it. And I'm telling you, on this second watch, On the scale of I hated watching this to I loved watching this, I'm almost in the middle, I
Okay.
would say.
I maybe.
Okay, let me redefine that actually. I'm in the middle in terms of neutral of being, I was able to watch this movie continuously and I didn't check my phone that much.
That's a low bar. I had to stop it because I was falling asleep.
I watched it
return
at
to
night with dinner though. I kind of made a whole
You
thing of
made
it.
a whole. I made it like I watched it midday after I did some of my pommel horse workouts.
I do want to share just briefly as we wrap this up.
Yeah.
So I am on Letterboxd, and I actually wrote a review for the first time we saw this movie.
Follow Sarah on Letterboxd.
You don't have to. I have so many. Anyway. So
she has enough followers,
this
is what she
review-
was about to say.
I actually do. This is from February 14th, 2017. This is my first reaction to this movie the first time.
Oh, when we saw it together on
so
Valentine's
it's a little bit
Day.
like reading in my diary.
Yeah.
I say, run, don't walk away from this huge disaster.
Oh,
Let's
sassy.
get into it. And I just wrote some notes. The entire film is just Kristen saying, come here, I have something to show you, and moving elsewhere to leave the plot behind.
Yep. Yeah.
Speaking of plot, nothing
Very
is
true.
resolved. They just fucking move on to the next thing.
That is
I wish
also
life
very
was like
true.
that.
Yeah.
I said, I don't need to see another nipple again for a month, including mine.
There were a lot of nipples.
I
yeah.
said, also, oil is canceled now.
Is it?
I
I didn't mind that. It was
I
fine.
wrote down this line, those are nipple clamps. Thank you, Christian. Nobody asked.
Yeah.
The lipstick on the abs thing, I guess kudos for continuity. Same thought.
Okay.
$24,000. Bitch, I would have deposited that check twice. Imagine being an actress and having to deliver the line, you're not putting that in my butt, and be serious about it. What did Christian do to that Layla girl? What the fuck was that? Again, similar.
Same. Yeah. No, it seems very.
There were so many brilliant moments of dialogue, but the film wraps itself up nicely with this one. Kinky fuckery. I'll say this, though. I enjoyed this more than Suicide Squad, and even more than I thought. So,
All right.
4 years later, consensus
Holds up.
remains the same. It holds up.
It's
You know what? This movie has aged well in that it was never really a good movie to begin with.
sure. Yeah. It still remains maybe a 2-star movie for me.
Honestly, I have it marked here as half of 1 star, but I would now say 2. I would now say 1.5 stars.
1.5 feels right.
You know what? 2. Now that I've seen the first one,
Full 2.
2.
Yeah. I do because a lot of people are saying the first one's the best one. I think this one is better.
No, I think the first one is better directed. Like I feel like
because
there
it's
were
done by
more choices,
yeah.
and there's like actually visually things that happen that were like, oh,
Right.
this is pretty cool.
right.
And this movie is just kind of like, look, it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like it's more willing to just
This
give
is more,
up.
This is
and,
more of
that's
just like
what
they didn't even bother writing a screenplay; they just read from the book.
Yeah, they just did scenes from the book.
Yeah,
Which sure. Well, we have one more to go,
I know. I'm very excited.
and
to
then
learn
we're
more.
on. Yeah, so yeah, we're gonna finally piece this whole thing together.
Finally,
and-
figure out what the hype is about.
I haven't found it yet, but we'll see.
Didn't the last one come out in like 2009, 2018?
18, I think it was 18.
Fuck,
18 or
like
19.
not that long ago.
No, but it feels whatever. Yeah, time is strange.
Ugh, I don't want to
Um,
think about it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, we got one more, and
Yes.
we'll, and then we're on to the next trilogy. So, wait for,
Yes.
50 Shades Freed.
Christ. Follow us on Twitter. We forgot to plug in the last episode we recorded, by the way.
We're a damn mess.
I know. So I'm on Twitter at SK_Griffith.
I'm on Twitter at Bridgett Tweets.
I've been plugging the Patreon a lot this episode. We read the comments. We want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah,
Not that you can't tweet at us or whatever. We'll find your comments one way or another. But if you
we'll
really,
find them.
yeah, if you really want to support the network, you really love these shows, you got it like $3 lying in your pocket at the end
Yeah,
of every month.
Can do it one time.
Become
Yeah.
a patron. Join the conversation.
Yeah.
Lots of insights to be had, even about things that you don't think there are insights.
Yeah,
to be
you
had.
guys are teaching us.
Yeah. So thank you.
Go to Small
Rate,
Beans.
review,
Small Beans Patreon.
buy a TeePublic shirt.
Yeah.
The end.
This has been a Small Beans endeavor. We're a bunch of pals who make podcasts, sketches, music, web series, and movies. The beans always have new ideas percolating, so make sure to check us out at patreon.com/smallbeans. That's patreon.com/smallbeans, where you can browse all of our current and past content, see what we've got planned in the future, and learn how your support can help the small beans grow into huge, giant monster beans. If you enjoyed this content module, please like, rate, subscribe, or tell a friend about us. We love you.